the bank that forgot the dead. The story behind the biggest financial scandal in British government history in 160 years. Picture this. Your father dies. You spend weeks drowning in paperwork, grief, and forms. One afternoon, you call the government's own savings bank to claim the premium bonds he kept for 30 years. The ones he always said were for the family, just in case. You hold on the line. The system runs its search, and then a calm, apologetic voice tells you it cannot find the accounts. Nothing there. Must be a system error. So sorry for your loss. Now imagine that same conversation happened to 37,500 families. And the bank knew about the problem for years before anyone said a word. That is not a thriller plot. That is what broke open in the United Kingdom today, March 26, 2026. And the deeper you go, the worse it gets. The bank everyone trusted, NS&I, is not a high street bank chasing quarterly profits. It is not a fintech startup burning through venture capital. National Savings and Investments has been standing since 1861, when it was founded as the Post Office Savings Bank under Queen Victoria, at a time when ordinary working people did not trust private banks with their money. So the government built one they could trust instead. For 160 years, NS&I has operated with one promise at its core. Your money is safe here because the British Treasury itself stands behind it.
Anytime.
100% capital security. No investment risk. No small print. Who's the government's word? Today, more than 26 million British people have money there. 250 billion pounds in deposits, sitting under the protection of the state. Over 22 million of those customers hold premium bonds, the iconic monthly prize draw offering tax-free winnings that has become as British as fish and chips or queuing in the rain. For millions of households, NS&I is not a financial product. It is a family tradition. A safe place where grandparents tuck money away for grandchildren. Where people save without thinking about it, because it is the one account where nothing bad can happen. Except it did. What families found when they came to collect the scandal began to surface in recent months, largely through investigations by the Daily Telegraph, and the stories that emerged were not dramatic in the way of bank heists or boardroom fraud. They were dramatic in the way of quiet, grinding, institutional failure. The kind that destroys trust not with a single explosion, but with 1,000 small betrayals. A daughter loses her mother. She calls NS&I to begin the bereavement claim process. The bank's system searches its records and finds some accounts, but not all of them. Nobody ever tells her that her mother held additional bonds in a separate profile on a different internal system. She walks away without the money. She never knows it exists.
There's something you need to know.
Another family submits a bereavement claim.
Wait,
the process runs. But £2,000 in premium bonds belonging to the deceased vanishes into the gap between two internal databases. The system does not connect them. Number alert is triggered. Number 1 picks up the phone. The money simply waits, invisibly, in a system that no longer knows where to look. Others waited months, sometimes years, for funds that were legally theirs from the day of death. While they waited, interest accumulated that they would never receive. Some missed property purchases because they could not access funds locked inside the bank's broken processes. Some had no choice but to hire solicitors, spending money out of their own pockets to recover money that was already theirs by law. In at least one documented case, a family was eventually refunded for tax losses accrued interest, and legal costs after NS&I lost track of two accounts linked to an investment portfolio. Pensionsminister Thorsten Bell confirmed all of this in the House of Commons on Thursday. The result of this failure, he told MPs, is that not all savings were identified by NS&I and paid to the beneficiaries of their estates as they should have been. The technical explanation was limited. Processos failed to comprehensively trace some customer holdings where those holdings were spread across multiple profiles or systems. In plain English, when someone died, the bank's search tool looked in one place and missed another. And for years, nobody fixed it. The numbers that stop you cold, an estimated 37,500 savers are affected by these historical errors. The missing payments amount to up to £476 million. Approximately three-quarters of all cases trace back to the period between 2008 and
Observe the official timeline. 2008 to 2025, that's indeed the record to seal.
The government's own savings bank spent up to 17 years failing to pay bereaved families what was legally theirs. The expected compensation payout, potentially reaching £400 million, would be the single largest in NS&I's entire 160-year history. The institution that opened its doors to protect ordinary people from financial loss is now preparing to pay out hundreds of millions for causing exactly that. And there is a second layer to this that makes the stomach drop. It was not as if the warning signs were hidden. The Public Accounts Committee published a damning report just weeks ago revealing that NS&I had been running a major technology transformation program, internally called Project Rainbow, since 28. The program was rated red in both 2022-23 and 2023-24. Red, in civil service language, means the project's successful delivery is considered unachievable. The committee found that NS&I did not have the skills to deliver the program from the beginning. That it leaned on expensive external consultants while the costs spiraled, and that the total cost of the program had reached an estimated £3 billion by 2024. £3 billion for a technology overhaul that failed, while the systems that were supposed to be replaced kept losing track of dead people's savings. The committee also noted, and this detail stings, that NS&I had been warned. Santander had faced enforcement action from the Financial Conduct Authority for similar bereavement processing failures.
We have much to discuss.
NS&I knew the precedent. It knew what this kind of failure looked like, and it still did not move fast enough to find the families who were owed money. The man at the top. Through all of it, the chief executive of NS&I was Dax Harkins. Harkins joined NS&I in 2003. He spent 23 years inside the institution, rising through roles in marketing, product development, and business strategy before being named interim CEO in March 2023 and confirmed in the permanent role in April of that year. He knew the bank at every level. He knew the systems. He knew about Project Rainbow. He knew about the bereavement complaints. This morning, Harkins was called into a meeting with Treasury officials and dismissed.
Look at this.
He earned more than £300,000 a year
this can't be right.
in salary
It's
and
undeniable.
pension benefits. Pensionsminister Bell told the Commons he was appointing Sir Jim Harra, the former first permanent secretary of HM Revenue and Customs, as interim chief executive with immediate effect, to provide a fresh start. Sir Jim will launch a review over the next 3 months. NS&I has been asked to publish a plan by May,
Your
detailing
taxes at
how
work.
it will
My
locate
taxes?
and repay every
See,
affected
funding local
family.
services. But that's
Bell
my house.
also confirmed
This
that
vault
the money
is where your
being
taxes are
returned to
secured.
customers
I see.
will
And
not
the goal?
come from
It's a metaphor
taxpayers,
for secure
because
investment.
It was already theirs to begin with. The question no one is answering. That last point is technically true. Politically, it is also very convenient. Because the question hanging over Parliament this afternoon is not where the money comes from. It is who knew and when.
This is the parliamentary
and
press
why
room.
it
We have
took
breaking
this long.
news. A major scandal is
Shadow
unfolding.
Chancellor
Details are emerging.
Sir Mel Stride called it a staggering failure of oversight and demanded that Chancellor Rachel Reeves explain publicly how this happened and who will be held accountable. Hard-working taxpayers could be asked to pick up the bill, he said, adding that at a time when families are already squeezed by rising energy costs, inflation, and a deepening economic crisis, the country can ill afford another costly bailout. Reform UK's Treasury spokesman Robert Jenrick went further, calling it incompetence on a staggering scale. The opposition is furious. The families are furious. But fury does not answer the central question. At what point did someone inside the Treasury, or inside NS&I, understand the full scale of this problem and decide that it was not yet urgent enough to act? There are 37,500 families in the United Kingdom who lost someone they loved and then, without ever knowing it, lost the money that person left behind. Not because of a criminal, not because of a market crash, because a government-backed institution had broken internal systems, knew those systems were broken, spent billions trying to fix them, failed, and somehow never made it a priority to track down the people it had quietly shortchanged in the process. Today, they fired the CEO. Today, they promised to pay the money back. Today, they put a new man in charge and called it a fresh start. But the daughter, who never knew about her mother's bonds, does not get back the years she spent not knowing. The families who paid solicitors out of their own savings to recover money that was already theirs do not get that indignity back. The people who missed property purchases, who lost interest, who spent months on hold with a bank that could not find what it owed them, they do not get that time returned. What they get is a plan. Due in May. From the institution that already had 17 years to make this right, the question now is whether a fresh start means anything more than a new name on the office door.